We are live.
All right, perfect. Welcome back, everyone, to the FPL Script. This is Season 4, Episode 11. Our Gameweek 10 preview, dubbed set pieces, mostly because the league has sort of moved towards this direction anyways. And I think we've appreciated this for a while now, but it's almost damning how how much the league has regressed in terms of open play so far, and then how much set pieces have sort of provided so much value towards Premier League teams and Van de Ven owners as well. I myself got 47 points this week. Nothing too special, to be honest. I think Van de Ven sort of ruined the what really should have been a green. I would hope. Dewsbury Hall actually had fairly decent XGI despite having a really poor game. The Krupi goal was lucky, but I think like if there's anything I could probably say, he seems like a pretty good ball striker. So maybe Football Manager got something right there. Across the board, it was the case that Saka was ill, so kind of makes sense why he wasn't able to play too many minutes. And I'm still bag holding Virgil like an idiot. Well, what about you, JD?
Yeah, hi everyone. Glad to be back after a couple of weeks. And also please excuse us if the sound is off or something like that. Fran is traveling right now, and we are
Yeah, and do
making the
let us
best.
know, anyways,
Yeah,
if there are problems.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We can try to fix it live if we can. Anyway, coming back to the game week, I scored 45, not too dissimilar to Fran. Giu was so bad. I mean, it's just I'm just glad to that he started and got like 70-ish minutes, whatever he did. I, with to Krupi's point, I was just checking his bonus points because I was so shocked he didn't get any, and he was one off.
He was one
So
off,
it's
yeah.
not like he missed out by a lot, and that's maybe sort of balancing out because you would I mean, okay, it's a balance, right? Sometimes you do get those games where because it's a clean sheet, most of the defenders now sweep all the bonus points, so
Yep.
maybe it is fair. But also, I think 6 points is okay, and I don't think non-owners should be too peeved at 6 points. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than buyers, I would say people that held him, I would say got lucky because they just bought someone as a dead spot, and then all of a sudden he's come to life, and yeah, that's sometimes how it works with FPL. So other than that, I too suffered the Van de Ven damage despite having 4 clean sheets in my team. This is the first time ever, I think, in FPL that I own triple defense from a team. So I'm glad I wasn't watching the game. I was in an aquarium in Atlanta, just not even paying attention to the game, and I'm glad it worked out. I hope it works out for the next 2 games, which are Burnley away and Sunderland away. So yeah, that's about it for my team.
I have to apologize to any of the viewers, but yeah, I mean, your team is not the one that's being shown on stream. That actually is FPL Jack's team. But the difference between your teams is you are right. You did get 45 points. You've got Timber and
Yeah.
Gabrielle and Virgil, as opposed to, let's say, Lacroix, and then you
Don't
still
Gyökeres,
have,
anyone knows that. Yeah,
right.
so exactly. So that's not my team.
You've
Yeah,
got Foden,
I didn't
Mark
even.
Q,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
that's
Sorry.
pretty much the difference, right? I think you bench Mateta as well, bench Lacroix, just
Yeah,
like
I did.
myself.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
pretty strong team regardless. But yeah, I mean, what's happened this week? That's kind of the most significant thing is just these EFL Cup results, and we're just reacting right now towards Palace and the draw that they have against Arsenal. I think Tala um, pretty much put it perfectly in terms of explaining how much chaos that can potentially provide towards the Premier League. Now, I don't think this is like 100% set in stone, right? But the point is we might see two blanks in FPL, which I think is extremely fun. Like this is the best case scenario I think for anyone who held on to their free hit. At the same time, I don't think it's impossible to navigate. Right, you've got 5 free transfers right before that. Um, in the past, like we used to think that, I mean that was like the best you could do. I think last season when we had some of these sort of surprise like doubles and blanks, I think the 5 free transfers was more than enough. If anything, I feel like when those Liverpool doubles came around last season, and they were a bit of a surprise to us, anyone who had like 3 or 4 free transfers was already fine. Plus, that also kind of included potential free transfers around assistant managers. So I think it is a bit overblown, like how important it is holding your free hit. I feel better holding the free hit now just simply because I didn't know when to play it. I think for people who've
Yeah.
already played it, you don't feel so bad because, you just play the fixtures as they are. You have 5 free transfers. But yeah, Tal's post effectively is that, we could see a double game week 16, which would revolve around Everton and Arsenal. So, um, Any thoughts on this?
Absolutely. So I mean, I don't need to add too much to what you said. Just that I was so confused where to use my free hit because again, I've looked at free hit 6. I had looked at free hit 9 that potentially some people were planning on playing, and some people were shamed out of playing because their teams were good to begin with. And you see, like, almost every time it seems that their teams end up being worse or the points end up being worse than their original team. And it makes sense because there's not really too much of an incentive, right? The expected value gain is also so minimum or minimal that
Hmm.
it just feels awkward to play the free hit. Now I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were also looking at the week where Arsenal play Chelsea, right? Because
Yeah.
we own, for example, I own 5 players from those teams and could potentially go up to 6. And so I think it just makes sense for us to skip that fixture. But then would any of us be surprised if it like Gabriel scored in that game or something, or if Arsenal kept a clean sheet? Absolutely not. So again, we could have ended up losing points out of that game week. So in a way, I'm very glad. But like you said, there is nothing that people are losing out on just because you get 5 free transfers. So you can just plan it out very easily, and you should be fine. Unless you have like 5 or 6 players that go to AFCON, and then you're stuck with making sure you make those moves and then also make different moves for blank game week, which I don't see how that would be the case. You would just move into players who don't play in the blank game week anyway. So I think it all works out either way.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's like Njai and Mbomo who don't have any involvement within teams that would be included within the sort of blank double.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, that would be worth a transfer. Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you'd really have to. Well, I mean, you'd actually have to own Salah, wouldn't you? To really create issues for yourself. So yeah, I think it's quite easy still to play through this. The big advantage I think of having a free hit is you probably can now afford to roll those 5 free transfers towards the next sort of fixture related situation. And of course, if there is more chaos from this, that should have more consequences for the rest of the season too. Um, so that's like a soft pro. But we also have to just see how fixture rescheduling falls and kind of just react adequately. Does this sort of like impact your immediate strategy in terms of how you would invest into Crystal Palace or Arsenal? I don't think so, right? Because to be honest,
No.
both these teams are too good to sort of miss out on. And,
Yeah.
and equally,
Yeah.
of course, I mean, look, there's the chance of a double with Arsenal, right? So I mean, triple Arsenal's fine. I think it's just more so a case of should you really be worried about doubling up or tripling up on Palace? I still don't think so because they're still absurdly well priced for at least the quality of the team that we think that they are and the run that they're about to go on.
Yeah. And also, for example, someone like Munoz, you just saw he got subbed around, I think, the 75th, 76-minute mark
Yep.
today. And that is off the back of an insane amount of games that he's played, every single match he has started. So if you
Mm-hmm.
own someone like him, there's absolutely no reason to worry. With Mateta, we'll come to xMins corner. Again, there's similar case to be made with Mateta now. And with Sar, you just saw Sar start again, and again he got subbed around 65, I think, minute mark or something like that. So,
Yep.
and he scored twice, obviously. So, I don't think there's any need to worry. Of course, Sar goes to AFCON, so you can transfer him out. But other than that, yeah, just buy 3 players from each team and play the fixers, I guess.
Yeah. Agreed. Do you want to do a little bit of like X-Men's potentially or
Yeah,
um
yeah, because I think we didn't do a podcast last week as well, right? So maybe it makes sense just to see if our thoughts have changed on any of the players.
okay. Anyone come to mind for you?
Okay, so what about Welbeck? I'm just going to go through the fixtures.
Yeah.
So first up is Brighton Leeds, right? And obviously Welbeck is one of the players who he's played 390s in a row now,
Mm-hmm.
so or close to 90s. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on maybe buying him this week potentially?
I think it's a great buy, right? The issue is always going to be more actually outside of the men's, like just things like pricing and injuries and lack of information, I guess, from
Yeah,
Fabian. Like, I probably would have like honestly, like I'd have him close towards 90, but then just with aggressive decay and just you can consider from that lens whether you think he's good as a pick. Because I think the issue right now is at that sort of price point, you have someone like Thiago whose minutes look good
That's
because
exactly. Yeah.
Brentford continue to play within a back four, which
Yeah.
obviously helps his minutes. And I think part of that is because if Dango plays well, there's more of a justification to sort of play that front three anyways. And they're actually quite dominant over teams right now, like just the performances that Brentford have been putting out. So I think that the issue is Thiago just has really bad fixtures. So if you're needing a transfer, like if you own Thiago, I don't think you ever sell Thiago. But I think if you're actually shopping for someone at that sort of price point, I probably would actually consider Welbeck, just from a fixture point of view. But then again, I'd say if you have more free transfers, that would make me a bit more comfortable because inevitably, if Welbeck is injured, then you'll need just a solution, right? And whereas Thiago, I feel like is a bit more robust. Like I don't think we're gonna have issues with him. Like Welbeck's just had way too many injuries over the last few seasons. His minutes just aren't good from that perspective. Otherwise, he's mostly been good. And I still think like he's got decent pen share. Like he's missed pens, but at the same time, it's not like Milner starts football matches, and we've not seen anyone else
Yeah.
take a pen for Brighton. So there's that aspect,
Mm,
right?
IRE? Did IRE take a pen?
Uh I can't remember honestly. I think
Maybe he
no,
did
he
in
did.
the
He
cup.
did. You're right.
Yeah.
Ayari did take a pen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so actually maybe Welbeck doesn't have pen share because Ayari tends to play most of the
Mm,
matches now. Although you saw, for
yeah.
example, the United
Yeah.
game, he did drop a
He got
stinker.
subbed. Yeah.
That was his first stinker in a while because he's been playing 90
Mm,
minutes quite consistently.
mm,
Yeah, that's a good shout though. I think Brighton are just about to enter a good fixture run. Maybe as a
mm.
part of this discussion, I mean, like, can we just discuss? I mean, I still think the Brighton assets on review are just they feel a little bit overcooked to me. Still, I know the fixtures are good. I know that we think they're a good team. But I'm almost shocked that they're at the like. It feels like the production we're expected to get from someone like Minte is actually better than Sar over the run pre Afcon, and I just don't believe it personally. Um, yeah,
One reason I would potentially go for Minte, which again, because we get 5 free transfers, there's no need to do this, is
yeah.
the fact that he does not go to AFCON.
Oh,
But
and I agree with that. I just mean just in terms of
yeah,
baselines, it just feels almost
yeah. No,
ridiculous.
I
Yeah,
agree with you. I completely agree with you because for a season and a half, we have seen Sar put up absolutely insane numbers that people with penalties don't get.
yeah,
So people's XG per 90 is not up to his NP XG per 90 standards. So I just feel like maybe there's some discrepancy in team strength, or maybe there's a tax for playing midweek and
maybe,
going to these obscure places away from home, which is not the case next game week. For example, like they play at home to AZ Alkmaar and then, of course, at home to Brentford as well. So again, I don't know how to adjust for these other than to just do a very rough calculation using baselines and then nerf minutes for
yeah,
someone like Minte. Because again, when Mitoma was there, I was still thinking that if I were to ever go for a Brighton mid, it would only be Minte, just
yeah,
because of the occasional chance to ever get defcons. And maybe again, mins are pretty similar, so I wouldn't like tax Mitoma for that. But just I feel like overall Minte was the better pick for me, based on underlyings as well. So again, you could go both, right? You could go Sar and Minte, but I don't understand going Minte over Sar. I just don't see a case to be made using, I mean, either minutes or pen share. If anything, when we had that case of Nketiah maybe taking some minutes of Mateta, which is not the case now,
yeah,
um, Sar would have been on penalties, which we have already discussed. So this is a slight nerf to Sar's expected value now. The fact that Mateta is not
true.
now going to be on the pitch for most of the game. So
Yeah,
I don't know how to adjust for that, but I still think that Sar is ridiculous. Like I don't know of a player in the last 2 seasons who's been so cheap and been so regular in underlings, producing those underlings. It's actually insane.
yeah. I mean, where I have an issue almost is just on the NPXG front because I don't think
Yeah,
Minte has pen share,
yeah,
right? So it's just I
yeah,
understand that Minte has some bonus impacts definitely as a set piece taker. You kind
yeah,
of have
yeah.
that sort of surplus there. But yeah, I just don't think SAR is anywhere close to being the same world when it comes to like expected goals, and so
For sure,
that
for sure.
that's just weird to me. But Minte is extremely well priced regardless. You know, like I mean,
Yeah.
I'd never feel bad about owning Minte. I just think if you actually had the decision to sort of make this week, you might actually hop on review and just think Minte actually just generally has better EV
Hmm.
over this run, and and that's
Hmm.
all I almost have um a little bit of a disagreement with personally. But
Again,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like maybe it's worth. So, for example, the market odds are down now for
yeah,
season long odds. So that's why we don't have them to show on the pod today. So
mm-hmm.
once we get them for next week or tomorrow, let's say,
Yeah,
I can check if we've had any adjustments because we did have a minor adjustment before game week 9 or game week
okay,
8, sorry,
yeah,
downwards on all Brighton assets except for Welbeck because I think the Welbeck adjustment was just because he got better minutes.
yeah,
And again, like I said, the DK has to be extremely aggressive for someone like him. But other than that, if you were to pick, so let's say for example, you're looking for 6 million ish striker. I think Thiago might be the better play, and then for the midfielder spot, you might go for Minte rather than doing it the other way around. That's the only thing I would say. Like that, if that is the conundrum, I would prefer Minte just for the security of minutes because I don't know. Welbeck is old, and there has to be a tax on minutes and availability. So that I think just makes me move to Minte as a result of that.
yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
yeah,
so Leeds, do we have any? I think there's nothing to be discussed other
no,
than maybe Goodmanson. Like that was very unfortunate for owners getting a one pointer versus Rodon's 13 points.
yeah,
I don't know if he's going to be back, honestly. We'll find out more in the press conference. So
yeah,
there's that. Burnley, there's nothing to talk about. Arsenal, everyone we want was benched today in the team. And Saka came on and scored, and Gabriel played a few minutes. And who was the third player? Three players came on. Timber. Timber came on
yeah.
and
It's
played
came on.
a few minutes. So, yeah, just nothing there except for okay. So Havertz is about to come back, right? Soon.
Yeah. So is Madueke
How
as
would
well.
you? By the way, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Before I proceed, I'm going to shout out Mo because I had a discussion with Mo about Mente or Sar, and Mo actually brought up a good point, which is kind of it's an intangible, but he pointed out that when until Minte plays on left wing instead of right wing, he has less of an interest in him.
Yep.
And again, that's also because we don't have a lot of baselines for Minte playing there. So I completely think that is justified. So his argument was when Mitoma comes back, we'll get Minte on the right wing, and then he is more interested in getting him. So maybe that's something that you also consider. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Minte played versus you guys on the right, though, no? Or
No, he did. I think
yeah.
he
No, he
started, but I don't know if he
started on the
moved.
left. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
exactly,
moved because
exactly.
of subs.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. So yeah, coming to Arsenal, you just mentioned Madueke as well. So how would you adjust Gyökeres's minutes? Because I think that's the biggest conundrum right now. And maybe let's say even Saka's minutes. But I think Saka to a much lesser extent than someone like Gyökeres. But I don't know. Maybe it's the same.
well, yeah, this is the argument that I had with Jack, right? Which is just,
Hmm.
I do think, yeah, when both of these players come back, I think Joker's minutes will be hurt a bit more because I still can't really see Saka being benched for games. At the same time, I think the Martinelli injury actually adds a pretty big piece of this conundrum because if Martinelli is injured, then actually Madueke can probably gap fill a lot of his minutes on the left. And then they also just simply have a lot of competitions for someone like Madueke to play in. And then Saka can sort of be prioritized in that sense. Whereas I think I wouldn't even dare say that Gyökeres is like firmly first choice over Havertz in every single match and circumstance. And then there's these early sub on aspect, even if he is. Um, very much similar to like game week 1 versus United. So yeah, I think the way that I'd see it is probably both of them still have perfect minutes up until game week 12, and then game week 12 onwards. I think you can kind of apply your own sort of prescribed understanding of what the Arsenal minutes will sort of decay towards. So I think that's the window where you do it because I think for all these players coming back, like Havertz seems close, Noni seems close. Like Noni, I think is already going to be a part of training soon, but they're probably not going to actually play a serious role because these are quite extensive injuries and people need to get back to match fitness. Like if you listen to like Eddie Howe talk about the Wisa injury and how long he's been out for, I mean the timeline's actually quite consistent with the other two injuries from Arsenal, and
Yeah.
he talks about how you need 6 weeks to get back into and to almost go through like a preseason, right? So yeah, I think Jack's point was fair in that I'm not sure if Havertz is going to dent Gyökeres' minutes too much, but at the same time, you never know. I mean, like Arteta talks about things like how much of a monster Havertz is in terms of like coming back, and I think like that still tapers off at least like 10 to 15 minutes at the start, right? From maybe like 13 onwards. So Yeah, I almost look at this, especially in tandem with a potential double, and just think that Saka's the one that I'd want to go to, and I
Hmm.
think there's price pressure, right? It- to an extent, like another piece too is that most of the game is actually converging towards triple Arsenal defense, or maybe at least they're going Gab plus Timber more so than any other variant of two,
Yes.
and then they just and then someone just picks whatever the rest of the pick is. Like I don't think Raya is super popular. I don't think Eze is popular. I don't think Saka is popular. People are going for Rice as well, and people still own Gyökeres, right? And
Hmm.
haven't done the yo-yo. So I think yeah, those are the two most popular picks right now in terms of Gab and Timber. So and they're probably the best picks. Like I've always been a Timber fan. It's just that Timber didn't really suit
I have
my
to hold my hands up. I was honestly influenced by you. I mean, there's no shame in admitting that we have had a chat on the podcast. I honestly was open-minded, and then after we spoke, I had a chat with Mo as well, and then we went. I mean, we both bought Timber before Gabriel, and
yeah
honestly, like there's no argument against them playing equal minutes right now. I just don't see any way of anyone else playing in place of Timber right now with the impact that he's having on this team.
yeah.
So I completely, I have to point to. We can maybe include the timestamp of the previous part. I can try to find that because I think that was a very compelling argument as well for Timber.
Yeah, I mean, part of it too is it's just unfortunate with White, right, because of his own injury
Yeah,
history.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think people who have owned Timber have very much enjoyed a lot of expected value, a bit more so
Yeah,
than default for sure.
yeah.
And then going forwards, I still think you can expect more because his attacking production this season has been pretty immaculate. Any other thoughts in terms of other teams though?
Uh, I was going to come to Van Dyke, whom
Oh right, yeah,
you and I both own, and I guess the question is, and I have had this gripe with him for like a couple of weeks now, which is okay, when initially we bought him in Game Week 4, even Game Week 6, let's say, the EV, I think it was still third best over the entire 12-week horizon because some of the games coming up are incredible for expected value. But
yeah,
the problem is, it's not going to be realized because before we get to that, the baselines are going to fall off a cliff. And when that happens, inevitably, you're going to lose a lot of expected value.
mm,
Now, I do understand that that means that his defensive contributions are almost nailed in every single game.
mm,
But again, you have always been, proactive in trying to anticipate
yeah.
EV rises and drops. And so, what are you doing to, and maybe counteract that?
I think to one extent, I think the issue is if I don't have the space to go Gabriel Timber,
Hmm.
I don't think Virgil's actually that bad. I think it's more so with the lens of looking at owning like triple Arsenal in that sort of way, or like Calafiori, even if you want to go there, right? And you want to just go
Or
shoot.
Munoz, right? Or
Yeah,
can you
or
not get
yeah,
Munoz?
it's true. I guess how good is Munoz is probably a fair question to ask because obviously like
Hmm.
the underlying is incredible. But I think there's an aspect to like how good DefCons are as to how Virgil's able to sort of hold his value like perfectly. Like if anything, I feel like his EV has flattened. Like he almost looks like a four every single
Yeah,
match because
yeah,
he's clearly now a DefConer, not a CSer. And
yeah,
Munoz,
exactly.
I think, is scary because of course you know that there's potential for Palace to get a clean. Like we still respect them as a defense, even though they've actually
Yeah,
been like shelling out a lot of XGC outside of the Arsenal
yeah.
game where it was actually relatively low. But I think
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of the main point. It's like if you believe that Virgil will just lose a clean sheet every single week without fail, which is kind of what he's doing right now. Yeah, I almost get it. Like he probably isn't worth that value, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of implied clean sheet odds for Liverpool, and so I think Virgil's like the second best def corner in the game right now in terms of like
Yeah,
his per 90s.
totally.
And then the other one's Senesi, who we all own. So
Yeah.
from that lens, I think yeah, from 12 onwards, like Virgil's still one of the best picks in the game. What does sort of depress me, and especially considering the title of our pod, is that it doesn't seem like Liverpool are maximizing set pieces at all in the Premier League. Like versus teams that are bad, like
Yeah.
Frankfurt, maybe they are, but it's very clear that they're sort of getting done in by set pieces from other teams, and then also not having that sort of prowess shown within the Premier League. So let's
I guess
see.
cope I have is that set pieces are very noisy, right? So
They
maybe the
are.
more we
And,
get
and and
the
Virgil is actually just a very consistent set piece threat, like through
yes,
through
yes,
time. So
yeah,
that's the copium
yeah,
we have. It's just I don't
yeah.
know, have Liverpool like fallen so far below the pecking order in the Premier League? Like maybe that's the case, and I think that like you can definitely make that argument. But I think it's, as I said, like if you don't own Timber and you don't own Calafiori and you maybe only own one Arsenal outfield defender like myself, then I almost look towards the rest of the field and I think they're also quite bad. But then it's just is the cost saving going to get you another good pick like in another position? And I think if you need that sort of money back, like go for it. I just think for me with Virgil, he's like just someone I'm just going to persist with basically from 12 plus. Like there's only one fixture really within the short term distance where I don't play him,
Man
and
City,
he's
yeah,
just a reluctant hold for me. But
yeah.
I suppose if he really is pissing me off this much, I can always go Virgil to a 4 and then just move Dewsbury Hall to a 6.5 like Sar and Jai and just call it a day. Or Minte,
And
even.
that's exactly what I was going to come to, right? Which is
Yeah.
that you could potentially own a midfield of NGI, Minte, Sar,
Yep.
Enzo Fernandez,
Yep.
and maybe Bruno or Saka as the fifth or
Or
the
or
first,
or both, you know?
or both, and then
Yeah.
you compromise. Like for example, you
Yeah.
have both. So
Well, I have
in that
Krupi,
case, I
right?
feel like yeah, exactly. But I'm trying. What I'm trying to say is, what exactly are you missing out on right now? Because usually you would have someone like Palmer, or you
Yeah.
would have someone like Gyökeres. Instead of Gyökeres, if you had like an actual striker, maybe you would miss out on him sometimes. But there's literally no need right now to use that money. So, like you said, I'm finding it difficult to justify moving him out. I
Yeah,
had
it's
one
hard. It's too
opportunity to
hard.
move him out.
Yeah.
Exactly. I had one opportunity which was to sell him instead of Munoz, and I was very keen on doing that. But when I saw his expected value, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like his expected value was third behind Gabriel and Timber, like you said. So
Exactly.
it just doesn't make any sense. But again, my biggest concern is that EV is never going to be realized, and I'm going to be left holding a bag of nothing, and it's just going to turn to dust. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean,
I,
like you
I
said, I don't have enough free transfers, honestly, to be
I
bothered with
mean,
this.
Virgil's gonna get a set piece goal this season, hopefully. Because I feel like this is the point that a lot of people are missing. It's like if you kind of look at who's actually gotten points this season, like realistically, it's just someone
Yeah,
who's gotten a supernatural haul like one game week,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
is Virgil completely absolved from being able to do that? Like, I don't think so. You know,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's
Like
ba-
Mukiele,
yeah,
Rodon,
yeah.
Ballard
That's
in Gameweek 1, stuff like that.
yeah.
I do
Realistically,
agree with that.
you score
Yeah,
one goal and you hit DefCon, and suddenly like you're at the rooftops basically with like
yeah,
somewhere between like 13 to 23 points.
yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's no need to overreact on Virgil, and at the same time going back to the point of like the Mintes of the world, like are they that much better than someone like an Elliot Anderson or a 5.0 pick, such that you should move Virgil, who's probably our
Oh,
third defender,
mm,
into a 4.0? Like I'm not sure, right? Because the 4.0 has bad games, So when you're
yeah,
rotating in and out 4.0, it's like that's that you're roughly like 3.2 to 3.8 EV every week. It's kind of like
yeah.
what Dewsbury Hall does. And so you're always going to be fielding that sort of gap, regardless. But I appreciate, yeah, Minte is insane. So for me, like what I'm actually looking at is I think if Saka's minutes do worsen, and I'm not happy with him, I think I'll take Saka out of my team later down the line, maybe around 12,
Mm,
13. And then I'm
mm.
actually angling for Sobo, maybe Sar still, but probably Minte, right? So Sobo and Minte are kind of
Oh,
my
okay.
distant sort of transfers that I like, as well as Foden on 13 or 12. So those three picks are the ones that I'm kind of eyeing up, and it just depends on little things like what I plan to do with Enzo, because I think Enzo is actually quite an easy sell if Palmer's back around 12, 13.
Yeah.
That allows you to just simply move Enzo to Minte. And then, as I said, if I plan to go out of Saka, then I have Dewsbury Hall to go out of as well. And I think the
Mm,
three favorite mids, as I said, that I like would be Foden, Sobo, and Minte. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about in the future. But part of the reason why I've moved into Saka is because I just generally didn't think that I needed to force transfers in the short term. So I'm planning to roll effectively for the next 3 to 4 game weeks before I sort of make other moves within my team. I'm going to
mm.
tank a Dewsbury Hall price drop tonight, but I think I've done a pretty good job of farming price rises. I think my team value is like 100 and close to 103 million, maybe, or maybe
Yeah.
102.5
Mm,
million. So obviously
yeah.
selling value a bit less, but still hopefully better than the rest of the field. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I don't think we need to go out of Virgil. He's just too good, and I own Raya, unfortunately. So as I said, like I think if there was a world where, let's say, I was a Petrovic owner, then yeah,
That would make sense. Yeah.
I would just go
Mm,
Virgil to Timber, but because
yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
open for me. Is Munoz that scary? For Brentford at home, sure, but yeah. I mean, you can see most of the weeks with Munoz too. It's not like he can lose his clean sheet. He can get a yellow. He does get yellows. And yeah,
If
I
he had, if he, oh, he's on 3 yellow cards, by the way.
yeah,
So again, another copium is that you could, expect him to get 5 soon.
yeah, yeah,
And you've already been unlucky with Dewsbury Hall. I can't even imagine if that happened to you with Munoz. Like you bought him, and then in a couple of weeks he gets suspended again. That would be crazy, I think, like, to get 2 suspensions in the first half of the season. So I hope that doesn't happen.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
you
with
you
Dewsbury Hall,
can
I
never
don't
say.
really care because I mean, I wasn't gonna play him the week that he was
No,
suspended,
no, I know. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
but it was
yeah, and
actually
then
a good yellow card because and I don't think he wanted to get a yellow card, but he did get a yellow card before Man City game, so that was nice.
yeah, fair enough. And Grealish was also going to miss out, so that
Yeah.
naturally dented even someone like India's appeal.
He's
Uh,
now the best
okay,
5.0 in the midfield, I believe, on review. Now that Stack is
who?
finally gone.
Means okay,
Finally
yeah,
gone. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Fakest pick in
The
the
which is
game, by
red.
the way. I will still
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. So moving on. So Palace, we've already discussed. I think the only thing to mention is that NKT is out for a while,
Yep.
seems like he's out for a while.
No,
So
I think that's
Mateta's
huge
wins.
news. Yeah. That's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
should be going up to the moon now. And I don't know about you, but I think I'm setting him at like 88 now because it's literally there's no one to play instead of him now. Like seriously, if you were to like waste time, it's fine, but to play serious minutes. Other than that, I think Brentford is fine. We already discussed Thiago's increase in minutes, and you should probably account for that before you solve.
I treat him as like an 82 because I tend to think
Yeah,
there's always going to be the off chance that especially
some
with this fixture run that
change.
Brentford have,
Yeah,
it's really bad.
yeah,
Like it actually is
it
generally
is.
bad. So I can kind of see this kind of Keith Andrews back three thing happening a couple more times. Um, but I feel like the pro with Thiago is he's never gonna fall into a position where he like suddenly becomes like a second string player, which unfortunately a lot of players in the league actually do fall into that camp, right? Like the Spurs striker falls into that camp. The
Yeah.
Fulham striker at times falls into that camp. Even like maybe like Strand Larson with like just the lack of form he's showing could fall into that camp. Sunderland,
Vindication on Stan Larson.
yeah,
He was on pens and he did score a penalty.
he
So,
was on pens. However,
you know,
that team is absolutely
is so bad.
diabolical.
Oh
Like he
my
literally
God.
has zero NPXG, and that's literally a lie. But I said that for effect. But
No,
yeah,
no, I know. I
they're
know.
they're awful, absolutely awful.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
God,
it's actually diabolical.
yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, you already mentioned the Fulham striker situation. We don't need to go too much into
And
that.
Raul has a
Anderson's
knock
still out.
again. Raul has a knock again.
Okay. Any news on Anderson? I think Silva just said he's not available for today, right? I don't think he specified anything on when he'll be back.
No. I don't
Yeah.
know
So we're still
how
waiting.
this happens, but like every time I look at the embargoed press conferences for Fulham, like there is nobody asking questions about Anderson. So
Yeah, it's insane. It's actually
it
insane. Like
like
I'm expecting like the script is like okay, you're right there. You're right there.
yeah
You're about to ask the question and then no one asks the question. It's like what's the point? So
yeah. I
it's
did
just
found out
yeah.
that Marco Silva thinks that Sanderberg needs to score goals and to add that into his game. So that was very useful information as an FPL manager. But that's life. We just move on.
Should do that before I've wildcarded in 4. But anyway,
Mm. Well, they
Forest again. I don't. Sorry.
Forest, oh god, they're. I mean, I think the issue with Forest is actually they were just mispriced for the season, right? Like this is a bad
Oh
team
yeah,
that
100%.
got wildly mispriced because of the points that they
Yep.
achieved last season, and I
Yep.
think bar the opening run of games, which was absolutely delightful, which they completely squandered as well.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like there's really no reason to go into that team, and they actually have way too
Nope.
much depth because they also bought like a bazillion players before the season started. So why would you
Yes.
bother?
Yeah. Also, in case anyone is still invested in someone like Gibbs White, he gave the second penalty to Jesus, Igor Jesus. I don't know if that was a similar situation to Enzo Fernandez giving it to Esteva Willian, but yeah, I mean, the
Fair.
bro had barely gotten 100% pincher before he gave some of it away immediately. So
Hmm.
there's that. United again, Mbumo getting stellar minutes. It's either him or Bruno Fernandes. If
Yep.
you own Bruno, I've a lot of people actually messaged me to ask if they should go from Bruno to Mbumo,
Yep.
and I told them it just doesn't make any sense.
But
What is the value of a free transfer now? Like it
yeah,
makes zero sense to me.
is it negative? No, I'm joking.
I mean, it is literally negative, but I didn't say that
I
just
I,
to,
I think I for
be
because I
kind.
think a lot of people like we were saying, for example, I own a Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall is 1 million away from a Minte, right? So yeah, like I think on paper I get it. Like you can make some pretty massive upgrades.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Mboma just looks amazing. But that is basically getting an AFCON transfer, neglecting that Bruno can probably outscore him and should outscore him over a season long run.
I hope people watch the Brighton game because again, I don't care about the eye test, just the chances he got and then the XGI. You can have a look at that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how he did not get a return out of that game. It's actually insane. And also, I saw that Clattenburg
Yeah.
said in some podcast that the Ahmad foul should have been a
Should
penalty.
have been a pen.
So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, again, you don't know if he would score based on his history. I'm just joking. Obviously, like his long-term
That
history is
didn't
still
make any
incredible.
sense, by the way. That was just like
I
ridiculous by
know.
De Kuiper. Like he was not even defending there. But
That's just yeah. I
one of those
mean,
classic situations
yeah,
where if you're the on-field ref and you make that call, there's no chance that VAR actually
yeah.
asks you to review that. Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
Whereas obviously when they're reviewing it alone, they'll do nothing. But
Yeah.
yeah, agreed.
So again, it's a lot of it's right on the cusp of Bruno getting some actual points. So
Yeah,
I don't think I am. I mean, of course, I am disappointed he didn't get a single return in 4 goals, which is I think the first time this has happened since he joined the club, where
really.
United have
Okay.
scored
Yeah,
4 goals and he didn't get a single goal or assist. I
yeah,
mean, the number of times we scored more than four is quite minuscule. So there's that.
yeah.
But even if you wanted to look
But
at that,
yeah,
so
that's not to
yeah,
say Mbeumo's bad, right? I think they're both wonderful
no, no, no.
picks.
He was
It's
absolutely amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and he is amazing.
Again, if you want to go, if you were disputing, let's say Kuna or Embumo was always the clear choice. He was dropping 90s every single game week. There was no need to go for someone like Kuna.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you have Embumo, you're flying. I mean, it's a brilliant situation for you because he will go to AFCON and then you can move him out. But until then, you can just keep him and it's great. But for us, Bruno owners, again, I don't see any need to do anything. Honestly, it's um, just enjoy the points and enjoy. Hopefully, what could be some form of resurgence.
yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to see.
No, I mean the resurgence is there for United. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
any other teams that
Spurs,
we haven't
Chelsea,
covered?
any? Yeah, Spurs,
God,
Chelsea. I don't
uh,
think against João
no.
Pedro maybe better minutes. I mean, he was still playing 90 anyway, so Delap's red card doesn't make a difference. Guiu potentially could start again, but again, I'm not starting Guiu over the players I own. So
Yeah, it's a bad
he
game as
will.
well, right?
Yeah,
So
it's a bad game. Absolutely. Spurs, you already mentioned Richarlison, bad minutes. I don't think there's anyone else we need to particularly discuss. Um, Liverpool, Villa, again, uh, anything that stands out to you? Maybe
there's,
Gakpo. I think Gakpo's the one, right? You've
I
always
know, but then he's still just
been keen on him.
yeah. I mean, I like Gakpo, but I mean, I think Slot. I don't even know what he really wants to do with the team going forward and things like that. Like, I think Gakpo has been far and away their best attacker by far this season.
Yeah.
And like I think the NPXGI suggests that as well. But
Oh yeah.
then
Oh
if
yeah.
he can get subbed off at 60 minutes in the previous match, then Gakpo's not the best of picks, and that's unfortunately the situation we're in.
Fair enough. Again, Aston Villa just almost no players. The people maybe Cash or Konsa people own, and if you do, just I mean their minutes look great. Uh, West Ham, Newcastle again. Paqueta is. I don't know if do you think his minutes are ever going to get affected? This seems like he's not doing anything. I mean, neither is anyone else. But you know,
Well,
I don't know what Nuno needs to do to affect some sort of change.
Yeah, I mean he could stop playing Socek Irving as a double
Fair,
pivot
fair,
to
fair.
start.
That is
Um,
diabolical. I must agree. Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know what that is, but I mean, fair enough. I think Paqueta said he wants to leave the club, and he didn't say this, but I think
That's what I read. Yeah, exactly.
that's what
Yeah,
his agents are clearly pushing
yeah.
as part of their agenda. But yeah, I mean, Paqueta's still a very solid pick. I just wanted to move out of him into a better pick in Enzo. And I got 1 point net from that, so that was really great. The main
Yes.
concern actually with Paqueta, I think, is his position on the pitch isn't even like really defined. Like he's
For
kind of just
Defcons. Yeah,
it's kind of just vibes, and so he's not gonna
yeah,
get DefCon.
yeah.
The structure doesn't seem right, really. And
Can I
yeah,
use the word meandering? Like
yeah,
I feel
he
like
is
when I see Paqueta,
absolutely
he's meandering around.
he
Yeah,
is meandering. Yeah. Well, I think
yeah,
also like I mean Nuno, we've never rated Nottingham Forest.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
It's just yeah,
I don't really care for it really. If you really want to play Socek or Irving that bad, feel free. Uh,
yeah. Newcastle again. I think maybe so. One curious thing I have is like about Gordon, right? And Gordon's
hmm,
been getting pretty consistently pretty subpar minutes in the
yeah,
league, and then he drops like 90s in Champions League.
yep,
So what would you set his minutes in the review? Because like for example, right now I have them at like 79,
yeah,
just to account for all these early subs.
yeah.
But then that means that
75.
we should potentially increase his Voltemada's pen share, right? So he's the one player that I just feel like I'm one transfer away, but I never have that free transfer because it seems like such a luxury to buy him now.
I'll never go Gordon. I think.
Yeah, no,
I
no,
think
no.
that I
I
think
mean Voltemada.
oh Ultimate, yeah. No, he's great.
Yeah,
Well obviously I've deliberately also gone out of a three forward structure. But
yeah, exactly,
yeah, I think
exactly.
Ultimate's fantastic. I think if anything, I feel like his baselines is still a touch low. I feel like when you look at the gap versus market, there's still a bit of an angle there for him. But no, there's not much to be said really. Like yeah, like Gordon's minutes are weird. He's still capable of dropping a 90 occasionally. I'd probably have Gordon at
Yes.
75 minutes. I know he's actually underscored that the last 2 out of 3 weeks, right?
Hmm.
Last week was the only time he actually got 75, but
Yeah.
the main thing is he can play those 90 minutes, and I don't see him, for example, as a bench option. So yeah, bit of a pro there for Waltermad for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but their
Final two.
fixtures are poor, right?
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
but
issue.
I just meant like sorry to cut you off. I just meant
Yeah.
that I'm
No,
just
so
looking at those players just
true.
to set the minutes and see if
Yeah.
they potentially pop up in
Yep.
future lines.
Agreed.
But I'm not seeing anyone. So yeah, just wait and watch. I don't know what to wait for, honestly. If they're not showing up now, I don't see when I would buy them. Maybe after when AFCON starts or something like that. But yeah, it would take exceptional circumstances, I guess. Uh, for City, again, two players I want your opinion on. One is Foden, whom I own, and then second is Reinders, just for people who still
Hmm.
own him. So, what are your thoughts on their minutes? Because I feel like for Foden, now that Cherki injured himself during celebrations, I feel like maybe he's going to get probably 90 minutes again in the league. Um, but Marmoush is still there, so I don't know what the impact of Marmoush's availability is. So, because you said you're going to potentially buy him in 13, right? So, what's the thought process there?
Is it actually confirmed that Turkey's injured though?
No, no, no. That part I'm just,
Right.
I just stated it flippantly, but let's assume he's fit. Let's assume Cherki is fit and available for the next game. So
Yeah.
you have both of them competing for that spot.
Because I think yeah I think he's fit, but uh to me, yeah, I think that the city piece is actually just more so an overall concern with how important Foden is
Yeah,
to production, and less so his like concern of minutes. Reinders, I think, is just has just become a
he's
dud
chalked,
pick
right?
because
Yeah, yeah.
the depth is too good, and I think
Hmm.
as I always was saying, like his good minutes always came when there was like really shallow winger depth, so that Bernardo could always
Yeah,
just like gap fill his minutes on the right.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, with
Also, maybe Pep singling him out essentially to pointing out to his big chance missed as an indicator of how other players are not contributing to
no, that's
team
true.
goals.
I mean, Pep always reacts like
Mm,
this, right?
he
But at the
does,
same time,
but
he also completely coddles Foden, who's
he does. He does. Yeah.
kind of done nothing so far, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Um, like Foden's become a bit of an XAG monster. Part of this is also because he's like fully on set pieces now, but yeah, like I don't really know. I think the minutes are good for Foden, and then obviously like we don't even have to discuss Haaland, but it's like, am I really someone who would love to bet for Foden over the next few weeks until they like finish that run of games, which includes like Newcastle away? Probably not. Like I've owned Foden on so many of my teams across the board, like in fan team as well. And I
Yeah.
and I'm actually just like, I know the EV exists and it says it's good. But I'd rather just buy someone else for now who just has a better fixture run, or allows me to spread my cash in a different sort of way. And then Foden's cheaper, I believe, in FPL, right? So yeah, he's a
It
wonderful
is.
pick,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't really know how much of a modeling shift like he deserves. Because we can always say like the historics for Foden and his finishing are just amazing. So I find him very hard to gauge,
Yeah.
because I think if you were to be fair, like I've
Mm.
always run Foden minutes extremely high, but the only reason why I've not touched him is because I almost feel a bit allergic to going for him right now, just based on what I'm watching. But it could be wrong, and he can just start getting holes in.
Yeah.
Like I remember a couple seasons ago, yeah, ignoring Foden when he was just hot, but he just simply doesn't look like it. He's to me he definitely feels like an emotional player. I don't really know what else to say about it. The shots are
No,
down, underlyings are
yeah,
down.
exactly.
Yeah,
My concerns are those things that you just mentioned, which is that it's not like the production rates are still there and he's
yeah,
not finishing or something like that, which can always be corrected, because we've seen that Foden's career data, he is one of the best finishers in the league right now. Now that Heung-min Son has left, he's literally, I think, the best finisher in the league now.
yeah,
So if that is the case, still need to see some XG, right? If it is all XAG, fine, you can get bonus points and all that, but we still need some XG.
yeah. I mean, we're
And
on
I think,
0.18, and he's played a lot of
yeah,
minutes
exactly.
already. Like,
He has.
and I guess you can make the
So
same criticism towards someone like Saka, right? Fair enough. Um,
you can, but I feel like because Arsenal are such a set piece dominant team, I can actually attribute more XAG to him
to
than
Saka,
I
yeah,
would to Foden.
fair.
Or okay, not XAG, but conversion rate of the XAG. Because I feel like set pieces inherently always have lower XG, right? Because a header always has low XG. So I feel like maybe Saka gets nerfed by that, but again, one set piece assist and he's right in the bonus. So and also Defcons, right? Out of nowhere, like he seems to be getting that odd game where he's absolutely bossing defensive contributions as well, which
Yeah,
Foden never is going to do. So I feel like Saka is perfectly fine, and if he's going to drop 90s, it's a no-brainer right now. Given that also Saka is 2 million more expensive than Foden, 1.9 million right now. So yeah, I mean, I want to sell Foden. I might sell him this week for Sar, but if you are talking about buying him in 13, I'm thinking about whether I should hold off. But then I don't want to miss out on Sar's games, right? And he's like the line to go from Foden to Sar is right
I think it
below the
makes,
line for rolling. So it's
yeah.
I'm very close to doing it.
I think it makes sense, because also like you'd have to think that there is an aspect too of like with City's poorish results that Pep will tinker a bit more, like will sub Foden off on a game or two, instead of just flogging him for 90s as he has done so far. Even though he's like on paper done well, bar like converting chances, like everyone has struggled with.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just see going forwards.
That's it for expense, by the way. If you have anything else we can discuss, otherwise we can move to captaincy.
Yeah, I feel like City is a team that I would just from a fixture perspective only look at from 13 or 12 plus.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I
I agree.
think you can get the X-Men's right completely, but what's the payoff is almost my question.
Yes.
Um, all right. So we move into chat and close it off.
Oh, one last thing to mention, which is that Eight Nouri started today, also assisted a goal, then
Yep.
got a yellow card, and also conceded a goal. So he's back now. So I don't know when we get closer to those good games that you just mentioned. Maybe there's a discussion to be had between him and Nico O'Reilly. So something to table for future game weeks.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. Because
Yeah.
Nico O'Reilly's played really well this season.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
And kind of telling that they've sort of struggled, not starting Nico O'Reilly once.
Yeah, true.
Although I don't think that's the tail of the tape. It's just also the midfield that they put out within that game. And but I think one thing that I fail to appreciate as well, and I think a lot of like analytics sort of pods have talked about, is just like the City midfield is still for the most part pretty awful. In terms of like dealing with transition and everything like that. Like I don't think Reinders at DM solves that. And we've already seen a good game showing us that. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure, for sure.
it's just almost like if you were thinking about the league right now, like there's only one good team in the league, um, and it's pretty damning how far
No,
apart some of the other
also,
teams are.
I feel like Arsenal have almost gotten to the stage where they know that the most optimal thing right now,
They are, yeah,
they
yep,
don't even need to go all out attack.
they're
They
min
literally
maxing,
need to
yeah,
keep clean sheets. That's it.
yep,
And
yeah,
I would do the same thing. I mean, I know that people are hating on Arteta for that and bringing out all the set piece stats and all that, but
yeah,
I would do exactly that in his place. Why would you want to risk players getting injured and other knock-on impacts by going gung-ho in games when you can literally control the game for 90 minutes and get a win? Like that's what the league has forced him to do. And I'm not a fan of Arteta by any means, but I just think it's just like you said, min-maxing. And
yeah. I
yeah, you
respect it,
you gotta appreciate that.
100%. Are there any chat questions?
Yes. Do you want me to read them out? I don't know if
Yeah,
you
yeah, go
can
for
see
it,
them.
go for it.
Okay. Okay. So JH says, "Yo yo, how are you guys?" Hi to JH. Napstars is in the chat. Hi Napstars. One of my favorite live streams. Thank you. Mo's in the chat. Anachronism says, "I transferred out Gyok, Pedro, Reinders, Bruno, Guardiol, Romero for Mateta, Thiago, Saka, and Mumo Munoz, Mukiele for a -4. Do you think it will be worth long time, or should I just use free hit?
I actually
Uh,
think that's a. I think we did sort of diss Bruno to Mbemo, but I kind of think it's a. I think structurally that's a good team. Like moving out of Romero
as
makes
you-
sense. Moving out of Guardiola makes
yeah,
sense. Moving out of Reinders
it
makes
does.
sense. Moving out of
It does.
João Pedro for
Pedro.
Mateta makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, I
Gyökeres as well. I completely agree with
I
those.
actually like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I do as well. My only question to him would be, is it the case that he needed the money, as in he had less money in the bank, and
Hmm.
then he had, so Bruno to Mbumo had to be one of those moves?
Hmm.
Because if it was a luxury move, I would have just not taken the -4 for that move. But
Right.
all the other moves are fantastic. Like five
Actually,
transfer FPs is meant for this.
true. Yeah, and something that you can actually look at, right? I guess Guardiola and Romero could be Arsenal defender plus Munoz. Don't feel like you need to
Yes.
not spend money in defense.
Yeah.
Um, and you can keep Bruno in that case, probably not go Saka, improve
Yeah.
Reinders to one of the picks that we like, and it could still be Mbemo. Maybe it's not, and it could still be Sar, for example, who's great. And then I think that works out quite well, right? Because then maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
yo,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think in that case, this is an Arsenal yo-yo. So it's like I guess you can do Gyökeres out for Mateta still,
That's what
and
he has
then
done.
I think
Yeah. Yeah.
ignore the João Pedro out to Thiago move because I still
Okay.
think these are really bad Thiago games. I'd probably still give João Pedro at least like is it Wolves at home coming up soon or is it the other game that's easier? Um,
Let's check.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Wolves. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is Wolves
Wolves
at
next
home,
week.
right?
And
So
then
yeah,
Burnley away. So that back to back pretty good games.
yeah, I think be a bit stubborn maybe and just keep João Pedro because it's like realistically, do you actually want to play Thiago for those games? Yes, of course, João Pedro's done nothing and Thiago's literally scored every single game. And I've watched in the distance as an ex Thiago owner. But yeah, I feel like that would be a better way to approach it because you'd avoid the hit and you still have a really strong team. But if you want to take the hit, I think those players are good still. Um, the
So
FPL,
I don't think he needs to free it, by the way. Just to answer his
no,
question,
yeah, I
yeah,
definitely wouldn't
just
free hit because
yeah,
you're
because he's gained like zero point
yeah
0.8 team value from this, so it would just basically nullify all of that.
yeah you're effectively going back to the team that you disliked right in the first place.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Also, we
exactly.
have a good reason to save the free hit now. Like we literally do. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So FPL Lemurs, hi. He says I want to get Timber and have to move Donnarumma down to do so, meaning Senesi and Petrovic switch. Is that an okay move? So he's basically wanting to do Donnarumma to Petrovic and Senesi to Timber.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't love
Donnarumma is
Petrovic.
massively overpriced, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's worth it, right? Petrovic is the best keeper in the game at 4.5.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just
100%.
yeah, I would just do that. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this fixture is bad, obviously, but
yeah.
overall, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Mo says, you know who does have actually 0 NPXG? JP. That's facts. Napstar says, hi, would you transfer Enzo or Foden to Mbumo or wait?
I would probably still do the Foden move if you wanted to,
You
but
would
I think you
this
can
week?
wait. I think you can wait.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think this week you could wait, like you said. I think Foden is probably going to drop close to 90 minutes, what I said.
Yep.
But again, by that same logic, I probably should hold on to him. But I think Foden to Sar just makes too much sense for my team. But if you want to hold on, it's completely fine. Also, when someone asked me Bruno or Embumo, I did mention to them that if you're buying fresh, Embumo makes sense from just building team value. You could
Yep.
easily get like point 0.1, point 0.2 team value on him, and then
Easily,
you
yeah.
can sell him.
Yeah, everyone's buying him,
So
so
exactly. So I just feel like if you want to build team value, it's a no-brainer right now. Um, Andrew Barton says keeping Foden to battle against Embumo must be due a haul. I mean, I've been saying that every single week, but Foden has just become a cardio Andy. So I don't know what else to do now other than to sell him. Uh, again, Andrew says Semenyo has struggled since Krupi has come in. Could Krupi and Evan Nilsson play alongside each other? There's no chance. There's no chance Semenyo is going to miss a minute, and I think Fran would agree with me. I mean,
yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
the only player who could actually potentially lose minutes, and I think it'll still be tough because you want to keep the press and all that stuff, is Tavernier. Tavernier has
yeah,
actually played 90 minutes since Evan Nilsson's gone out because, of course, like you
yes,
rearrange the order of things, and suddenly, like, I mean, Adley becomes a sub for Krupi. You have Kluivert being a sub for the sort of 10/CM position. So that's kind of allowed for someone like Tavernier to play 90 minutes. But yeah, like, I guess if Krupi was going to get more minutes going forwards, he'd probably actually sub on for a 10 a bit more so than Evan Nilsson. Or maybe he could still sub off Evan Nilsson, I think, like early now. I think
I
that
think
could,
he could because he has
yeah.
already. There's already precedent. It's not like this is the first time he would be doing it. So
Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah.
So that's kind of it. Semenyo, I don't think will lose a single minute over this run. And
No.
to be honest, like, if we're being fair to Semenyo, like, he's just overperformed massively, and Bournemouth
Exactly.
have not gotten any XG as of late, and then Semenyo just hasn't been able to get like the same quality of shots off. But I think Bournemouth have had a tough run of games, so you don't worry about that. Semenyo will have a good run of games soon.
You saw the game, right? Against Forest. I don't know if you saw, but he got a chance where he dribbled on the left wing and then tried to shoot across, and
Yeah,
Sel saved it with his feet. So I feel like when he was overperforming massively, that same shot was going in. That's the only difference.
yeah,
And
I agree.
now that it's sort of coming along to maybe where his underlying should be, that one didn't go in, and it shouldn't go in because I mean, this is not sustainable anyway. Like some players do sustain it for a season, but it's very difficult to do that. So, like Fran said, like the team value you've accrued from him is insane. Like there's no need to sell him right now. Yeah. Anachronism has followed up saying, I had to take a hit, otherwise I couldn't afford it. So he said, so so I had to save and get the value. Hopefully it pays off. Also, is Gabriel a good captain this week?
Yeah, I mean, we can actually do captaincies quickly, right? Well,
Yeah,
these are the
exactly.
options per review, top options. I think Gabriel, because I feel like I say this every single week, but honestly, like, every week there's a defender topping the lists of like max points, and or it's a DM, and we have now come towards a point where we think the expectation is that defenders will get holes. Now with Arsenal, I think it's a bit of a different case because it's literally Arsenal.
Yeah.
Um, the main thing is you can't ever guarantee that Gabriel's always going to be the one who gets that haul, right? So I think no. I think sorry, Gabriel is a good option. Do I see him as a top option? Probably not. And that's pretty much it. Like, I think Holland has a home game, which is quite crucial.
Yes.
Salah does too. You can obviously apply your own belief on Salah. Saka has Burnley away, which obviously same game as Gabriel. But it's almost like, do you think Arsenal will absolutely destroy Burnley as a team? Or do you think Arsenal will get away with this 1-0 win versus Burnley? Because I feel like you almost have to angle it where the perfect captaincy situation for
True.
Gabriel is
True.
do they
True.
actually just beat
1-0.
Burnley with one goal, or somehow, of
Yeah.
course, it's like
Yeah.
the only goals that they possibly score versus Burnley are pure set piece goals, which that could happen as well. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I just think that's
Absolutely.
kind of a limited circumstance just because of how poor Burnley are. Like I think Burnley are going to
Yeah.
give chances away to the attackers of Arsenal, who should actually get bonus points this week in more scenarios than you'd expect compared to, let's say, I don't know, if Arsenal were playing a team that was very blunt but then actually pretty good on defense. Like maybe like if Arsenal were to play versus Sunderland, I actually think that could be interesting, right? Because it's like,
Yes.
do Sunderland concede a lot of chances? No, but can Arsenal still sort of set piece them? You know, sure. So
Yeah, completely. I would captain any one of those four players on the screen before I would captain Gabriel. So
fair, yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
that probably answers their question. Um, Rio Wang says, "How would you do Pedro and Diouf to Mateta and Achiampong?"
Um, Interesting.
Again, I
Yeah,
think this is a budget issue.
yeah, that's 100%. But I kind of like it though. But I feel like I'd still go Mukiele over Akiampong.
Exactly, exactly.
I think people are reacting a little bit too much to how bad Tosin and Chalaba are. The main thing is someone like Akiampong, I think, is still going to be managed. Like from a perspective of Chelsea still need to sort of fight for Champions League points. They still need to maximize on that. There's going to be a soft impact there, and I can't see Akimpong getting like all the minutes that you want within the Premier League. And then obviously, like if you miss some of the crucial games here in the short term, you probably actually just want Mukiele anyways, right? Who's a bit more robust.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, I mean, you saw what Tosin did for the for the second goal against Sunderland, but
What did he
again,
do?
like
What did he do? Is the question.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's exactly, yeah. It was actually
uh,
incredible. Like looking back on it, I can't believe this is a Premier League game. That's actually insane. Like the lack of defending is crazy. Yeah. So Andrew says, "Cheers, guys. Thanks, Andrew, for the watching the stream." Napstar says, "Bournemouth and Brentford are fun to watch. Anything can happen. Great stream. Good luck to all. Thanks, Napstars. Good luck to you." Anachronism says, "Should I transfer NDI to Sar or Enzo in Game Week 11?"
I actually think Njai is a hold.
Yeah,
I think
until he
he's
goes to AFCON. Yeah,
yeah, I think he's so good.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
for
yeah.
sure, 100%. Then he says, if yes, then Sar or Enzo. The answer is no from both of us, so we don't need to go there. Uh, Connor Hunt is in the chat. Sub Kings, hi Connor. Connor says 5 more weeks with Mo. So just for context, Connor does not own Holland; he owns only Salah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
he did benefit from it this week, which is fair enough to him. I did enjoy Cole Palmer outscoring Salah by 1 point, I think it was, when Salah played Leicester and Palmer played either Wolves or Crystal Palace, I forgot, last season.
Can't
That
remember.
was the only week I enjoyed captaining Palmer because I didn't own Salah. So
Hmm.
I can empathize with what Connor is feeling. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Well.
um,
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Connor. I think that's about it for this stream. Thank you so much to anyone for joining. Any last words, Fran?
No, that's it. Thanks all, and we'll catch you guys soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll be back next week. Take care.